I know it's football season, but that doesn't mean you have to throw your strength training out the window. If you only have time for one exercise, I'm going to tell you exactly which one I would do to help you stay strong and win games. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me. My name is Dr. Tyler Desplenter, and I wanted to share a thought with you I had about in season strength training for football athletes. So recently, I was at my old high school checking out the football teams this year, and it had me thinking about when I used to coach there. So, what I find, and you might find too, is that when the football season starts, or the in season for most sports, strength training gets left behind. And in some cases, it gets thrown out completely, which is not very good because it doesn't set you up for the next season and the other things to come for the athletes, right? So, reminiscing on this, I was thinking about how when I coached, we did very little strength training, but that little bit of strength training had a huge difference in our success. So, for example, we had a year where the team put up over 250 points and only let two touchdowns get scored on us in an 8 game season. So, pretty impressive. And I attribute a lot of that to the strength training that we did. At the high school level, the stronger team has a huge competitive advantage, right? So that was what I was reminiscing about. But what I started to think about that experience was many of those athletes, it's their first time in the weight room. And if you have to, you only have about 45 minutes, we had once a week. And if you have to teach and have them perform these exercises and there's 20, 30, 40 kids, it's not nearly enough time if you are trying to do a whole bunch of different exercises. Now, for the athlete's development, it's really good to do a bunch of different exercises, but ideally, you should do that when you have more time, which would be in the off season, right? Or after the season, something like that. When you're only, have 45 minutes once a week, then I think that really constrains on, what you can get done. And so that gave me a thought about this question, which was if I could only do one exercise for football athletes during the season, what would that be and why? Now, since my days of coaching high school football, I've went on to study and compete with the strongest people in Canada, which are strongman athletes. So from that background, if I only had 45 minutes a week, what strongman exercise do I think I would train football athletes on that would have the best carryover and help them win games without beating them up too much? And that exercise is the barbell clean and press. Now, I can hear the thoughts running through your head already, but before you go getting upset about this, let me give you 5 reasons behind this choice. Reason number one, the barbell clean and press is one of the most all encompassing strongman exercises. When you do this exercise, you're going to train your squat, you're going to train your deadlift or hip hinge, you're going to train your grip by trying, when you throw the bar up there, you're pulling really fast in an upward motion, right? So there's a kind of upward row or upward pull movement you're going to train. You have to train the balance as the bar sits on your chest and then overhead. You're going to train the press. So as you can see, this is a full body motion, and so it's going to, if you only had one exercise to do, it's going to be the best bang for your buck. Reason number two, the barbell clean and press has really good sport specific timing for football. So when you're trying to burst off of the line of scrimmage in football, you have a very hard acceleration that leads into contact typically with another player. The clean portion of the barbell clean and press mimics this. So you're going to have a very high demand upward acceleration getting the bar from the ground onto your chest where you make contact with it, right? Then in football, once you make contact, you either typically trying to do one of two things. One is get away from somebody you're making contact with. So maybe you can, like a receiver, you got to get open and catch the ball. Or you need to move that person to a desired location or at least stop them from moving where they want to go. Now, the press mimics this second burst of acceleration or energy that, football players are going to have. You're going to take the bar, it's in contact with you after the clean, and now you're going to have a burst of energy, a burst of acceleration to throw that implement overhead, just like you would on the field. Reason number three, the barbell clean and press reinforces explosiveness. If you're not explosive, you're not going to be able to get a very heavy weight from the ground to your chest or from your chest to overhead for that matter. Explosiveness is a requirement of football and for winning, right? So the team that's going to be able to accelerate the most is going to get away and catch the ball. They're going to run the ball better or faster and score more touchdowns, right? And just think about this. If an athlete can explosively move a 250-pound barbell from the floor to the overhead position, then they're going to be able to manhandle a 250-pound opponent. Reason number four, lower absolute loads. The barbell clean and press is going to force athletes to use lower absolute loads when they're lifting it compared to other traditional football exercises, such as a squat or deadlift. And this is perfect for in season football training. Of course, those other exercises matter, but what matters most is that we save those maximum efforts, those highest absolute load efforts for on the field and not in the gym. When it's off season, we can ramp it up in the gym, but when it's in season, we need those efforts to be saved for the field. So, might have an athlete that can squat 400 pounds, but because they have to press weights, they can only clean and press 200 pounds. So that's half the absolute load. You're going to reduce the injury risk associated with the training. And, the athletes are already getting beat up from the sport itself. So this is a way to reduce the load on their body and maybe allow them to recover better while still maintaining that explosiveness and strength. Reason number five, barbells are everywhere. Now, coming from a strongman background, I easily could have said an axle clean and press or a log clean and press, because the neutral grip will help, keep the wrist from getting beat up or something like that, right? But you might not have that equipment available, and your athletes, might move around to different gyms depending on how their season goes or their lifestyles. So if we pick barbells, there should be no excuses around equipment availability. Whether it's your school gym, a local commercial gym, or your friend's garage, there's going to be a barbell and plates there, and you'll be able to do this exercise and get the benefits from it. So there you have it. If I could only pick one strongman exercise for football athletes to help them get strong and win games, it would be the barbell clean and press. Now, there's lots of exercises we can borrow from strongman that would be great for football. And if you want to hear more about that, let me know in the comments. But whatever you choose, just make sure that you're doing some form of strength training during the season. It's going to help you win games, it's going to reduce the risk of injury, and it's going to set athletes up for future successes. And with that, I wish you the best of luck with your season. Thanks for watching. Take care.